Oh man, so much stuff has come out this weekend from Warhammer Fest 2018. Like every time I was going to go make a video on it, another thing was announced, another thing was announced, another thing was announced. So what this video is going to be aimed at here today is kind of rounding up everything that we've heard of from Warhammer Fest 2018 across all the various news sources that I've been kind of watching here. Just a huge disclaimer up front, guys. If there's anything I missed, go ahead and let me know in the comments section. I try to cover pretty much everything, but there were so many announcements that I'm pretty sure some stuff I'm going to have missed here. So let's start in with, I guess, one of the first and more bigger announcements. More bigger? Got 2 fucking college degrees. I can't even grammar myself out of a goddamn hole in the ground. So one of the bigger announcements from Warhammer Fest was the second edition of the Age of Sigmar. A lot of you, this is going to be met with boos and narrow eye glances and pissed off looks, but this is unfortunately coming. And with that, we get some new goodies, right? So one of the biggest things, one of the biggest reveals that we had from the Age of Sigmar section was the Nighthaunt reveal trailer. And the Nighthaunt is something that we've seen kind of teased about in the Malign Portents campaign, and they're in some of the board, like the little board games, separate extent. They're not really necessarily board games, but the little scenario games, I guess you might want to call them, that they release for both Warhammer 40,000 for Age of Sigmar now. And they kind of tease them with some of the wraiths in those games. But the Nighthaunt are really cool and different. So the way the Nighthaunt are working here is that they are pretty much all wraiths of some sort. They look a lot like Mortarks do, like some of those character models. You can see they borrow from some of that stuff. They use a lot of the old stuff from the end times, and they got 2 new paints as well. And these paints are pretty fucking snazzy. And this is kind of the coolest thing about like up-to-date Games Workshop paint system, is that it's gotten a lot better with its paints, and they've gotten like a lot crazier with them. So they're releasing Hex Wraith Flame, which kind of makes for it on the edges. It is white and it kind of puddles into like a deeper green. And then the other one is Nighthaunt Gloom, which is the same thing. Rather than it being green, though, it's this kind of like cyan purple, or not purple, like a bluish weird hue color. It's very weird. They're both very ethereal looking, and they make a lot of sense. Like, ghouls and ghoulies and ghosts. So we've got that big thing coming from Age of Sigmar. But guys, there's a big portion of that. And for those of you joining us here from the Total War community, the Nighthaunts are going to be giving us a brand new Black Coach, which is huge. If you're anything part of the Total War meme community, you understand how huge that is. So a brand new Black Coach. We haven't seen one since, like, oh my god. The current Black Coach model, I think, is from like 1996 or 1998. So we're definitely overdue for such a glorious rendition. And it is. It's beautiful. It looks really good. I mean, say what you want about Age of Sigmar. And its overall portrayal and what it's done to the unfortunate Warhammer Fantasy universe. Games Workshop has come a long way in their sculpting abilities, and they can make fucking impressive models now. That kind of leads me into the new Sarkasant chamber that Sigmar has opened up in Age of Sigmar. This is probably going to be part of the second edition, which is actually going to be occurring in June. The second edition is launching really soon. This isn't like a, hey guys, 6 months from now, get ready, second edition Age of Sigmar is coming. Nope. You're going to have that second edition landing here in June. It's going to expand the narrative, it's going to refine a lot of the gameplay, and we're going to get what I'm about to get into is Cinematic Sorcery. That's the kind of big banner they've got. But the refined gameplay means that we're talking about the fact that they've created so many war scrolls, and there's so much shit out there since the inception of Age of Sigmar 3 years ago. It's hard to believe it's been 3 years. But this is going to kind of streamline that, kind of cut away the fat, and make it a little bit more accessible to anyone getting in, because there's been so many, erratas and FAQs and stuff like that tacked onto this. It's like basically the rule book should be filled with post-it notes, is what they're kind of saying. And they're going to get rid of that and kind of make it streamlined once more, make it a little bit, put all information in one spot again. So that second edition should hopefully then introduce the Nighthaunt and the new Stormcast Eternals. Or I'm sorry, Stormcast people, the Eternals. I don't remember all their names. They're weird and shit. But the new Stormcast Eternals are basically mages and casters on these big mythic beasts. So that's going to be entering the Stormcast arena of figures. one thing I'm kind of hesitant here is that the Space Marines of Warhammer 40,000 suffer codex bloat. You've got this massive, like, I don't even know what it is anymore, 280, 350 page codex, whereas you buy, let's say, the Dark Elves, the Drukhari, and they're like a 180, 220 page codex. And you've got too many things for one roll. And I feel like that's what we're going to get with Sigmarines, Stormcast Eternals, is that we're going to get this codex bloat of, hey, here's 5 different hammers for one nail. They're getting the quad barrel lightning artillery, which is kind of cool and sounds devastating and all that shit. But at the same time, I don't want them to just start throwing a bunch of crap into Age of Sigmar to make it just like Warhammer 40,000 with horses and undead creatures. It's just gonna become the same damn system and game. I know a lot of us already hate Age of Sigmar, so a lot of you guys are just saying like, just down with Age of Sigmar, burn it with a pitchfork. Be that as it may, I want it to kind of... Games Workshop relies a little too heavily on its Space Marine moniker, and it derives a lot of revenue from the Space Marine image. And that's why every time there's a new edition, the first codexes or the first army books to come out always are the ones that end up falling behind the power curve because they realize how to deal with the edition and the system later in the edition. So I don't want Space Marines and Stormcast Eternals always to be the first, the biggest, the front runner. Like, save the best for last sometimes, guys. So hopefully we won't get the same shit happening. But let's talk about Malign Sorcery. So even in 8th edition Warhammer Fantasy, and this is what's cool about what they're releasing here, is that you can use this for other editions of Fantasy if you still play. So let's say, you have the Purple Sun of Xerius, or you got the Flaming Skull, all this. They were represented as tokens in the game. It's just, hey, put the blast token here, and it stays in play because it's a vortex spell, and it moves around the board. Well, the Malign Sorcery models are going to enter the game as actual models now. And they're going to represent the actual moving token itself. So rather than having just this random little token on the field, you're going to have this beautifully sculpted, very immersive looking model to fit into that. So you've got this Purple Sun of Xerius model, which is just awesome. This big globe with a big skull on it and all these little spines things sticking out of it. It just looks fucking rad. Or the Screaming Skull model. All this stuff kind of adds a little more immersion into the game, and not necessarily that was missing, but it just makes the battlefield a little bit more colorful. And I think half the fun of playing a fully developed and painted army is having that battlefield look so colorful, and to have your sorcerer, who looks cool and painted well, actually have a really cool spell in front of him. That's a nice little tidbit that I wish was in earlier editions of the game, other than colored templates and stuff like that. But that kind of squares off our news for Age of Sigmar. We do know that Gotrek is coming back. He's going to be in a audio book pretty soon here. And that's going to be narrated by Brian Blessed, I think is his name. He's in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. He's more of a UK actor than he is a US actor. So definitely check that out. They're also teased a Skaven battle tome, so hopefully we'll be seeing some Skaven in the near future in Age of Sigmar. But I want to start jumping now into 40K and some of the stuff that came out there. One of the bigger things I want to talk about is Titanicus. Now, Adeptus Titanicus is pretty cool, I guess, maybe from a conceptual standpoint. I'm not too crazy on all the standalone little mini board games that Games Workshop's been releasing, mainly because I just can't keep up with them. I'm more focused on trying to complete my Blood Angels, which I'm staring at are all primed over there and I need to be painted, and goddamn, where's all my time go? I just haven't gotten around to all these little mini games that they released, which look fucking cool. They look really good. Adeptus Titanicus is a way to play Titans fighting Titans without having to build and paint a 7.5 foot tall model and having to jump in and pilot the cockpit yourself. Like, you get Imperial Knights, which are really no bigger than just say like a Blood Bowl model. They're just a standard little, I think it's a 25mm base, 30mm base, depending on whatever it is. So you're going to have very easily accessible Titan warfare that you can play on probably a series of templated, it's not a battle mat, but you can buy their terrain pieces and stuff like that. So I've always loved the lore meta of Titans. And it's only recently that Games Workshop has really kind of cracked into Titans a little bit more with Imperial Knights and tried to give us a little bit more of a taste of what Titan warfare would be like. And Adeptus Titanicus gives us exactly that. We get these resin cast models that we can really kind of go to town with, Reaver Titans, Knights, all sorts of action that we can really kind of dig deep in. Warlord Battle Titans, all that action. I'm really kind of excited to see how this plays out. I probably won't be picking it up because, again, I can't even fucking finish my Blood Angels. So I want to see how Adeptus Titanicus rolls out, because the biggest thing that I see for it is it creates the opportunity to have a Warhammer 40,000 game version of Titanicus, which would be pretty awesome. I think that'd be really cool brought into a digital realm. Now, on a similar 40k kick, and something we talked about in our last little news video about Warhammer 40,000, is we got a teaser of the very first sculpt of the Sisters of Battle, and that is rad. I mean, it looks straight up like the pictures that of old, of like, you know, the I'll flash that picture up right now, but basically, you know, this is the exact same, a carbon copy image of this picture that they've just basically turned into a model, and it looks fantastic. It looks fantastic. I'm excited to see what we get with some plastic Sisters of Battle and finally a refresh on their rules. It's been way too long. It's been a meme for way too long, so I'm excited to see what we get with that. And when that kind of eventually comes, they said around 2019, January time 2019. So hopefully we'll start to see some teasers of it in December and get the full release then in January. But I think there was one other little bit of 40k news I wanted to talk about. There was what are those things called? Necromunda gang that's coming out, and I can't find my notes on it. But another Necromunda gang is coming out, and I remember it being not human. Like, they're not just a normal human. They're like cyborg-esque. They're like more. There was only one image that was leaked of it, or not leaked, but taken of it. And the image kind of depicts them as being a little more hodgepodge, kind of slapped together. Oh, sure, I've got like a mech leg, but maybe that mech leg doesn't work, so I'm not really sure how that really plays out. I have not played Necromunda either. And that's another one of those games that I've always wondered, I wonder how this is. It looks very good. But that will be coming here soon. We also got some little teaser shots of the new Necron construct, which they haven't said, is it a vehicle, is it a construct? But it'll kind of make a lot of sense because Necrons have a lot of big, huge, damn models. So this kind of fits that motif of 8th edition having almost every faction getting one sort of giant-ass model. This one's going to fall in line with that repeating theme and giving Necrons that large-ass model. But that pretty much squares away our news here from Warhammer Fest. There were some other little kind of smaller reveals and talks about some more Forge World stuff coming out, stuff like that. One of the other big things, it's not necessarily as huge and pivotal of a news announcement, but they did talk about some of the upcoming Black Library stuff that's coming out here. We're getting another book on Leman Russ, so that'll be good. Maybe that'll kind of feed the fuel of the Angron Leman Russ Primarch that is supposed to maybe even come out this year or be announced this year. So hopefully we'll get some more information on that. I found my note. Here we go. The other Necromunda gang that's coming out is Necromunda Cawdor gang, and we're also getting some update on the Orc cheerleaders and other cheerleaders like the Damned Damsels, the Elven Union, all sorts of other cheerleaders from Blood Bowl as well. So, if there's any information from Warhammer Fest 2018 that I forgot to cover that you guys think was hugely important and really critical, please go ahead and comment below. I want to make sure I cover all the bases, dot all the T's, cross all the I's, all that crap, whatever it is. But go ahead and comment below. Thanks so much for watching here today, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, all that jazz, and let me know if, again, you want to see more of these videos of Warhammer news. I wanted to cover this because I was excited about all the stuff that was announced, so I wanted to really bring it to the table to show you guys here. But do let me know if you want more of this kind of stuff on more of a regular basis, or if you want to just kind of keep it relegated to, hey, this is a big announcement, go ahead, give me the news, or however you guys want to split up. But thanks so much for watching here today, guys. Have a good one, and take care.